Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Thanks for joining me for another live session. Welcome to all of you watching and listening in. I pray that all is well. Welcome to the new viewers dropping by, and special thanks to all of our moderators. Thank you all. So, hello to the frequent flyers. Let's see how some of you are doing. Thank you, Clifford. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you who support this ministry, tuning in when we do the lives, tuning in for the Sunday sessions. Thank you. Hello there, Brother Darnell, Shirley, Miss Love, Dwayne, Clifford. Again, thank you for the super chat. Patricia, Vikisha, Drea, how are you doing? RY, how you doing? It's looking like you want to be a moderator, RY. Hello, Sister Maria, Brother Calvin. How you doing? Sister Janet, Hadassah, Optimal Training. Naturally Reborn, hello to you. I pray that all is well. Hello to you, Portia. Thadrian, how you doing? Diamond Love, how are you? Kenneth, let's see who else we have. Byron, how are you? Karen, Colored Girl 72, how are you? How are you, Sister Shine? Exodus 8, Brother Harold, how are you doing? How are you doing? Good to have you with us this afternoon. How are you, Princess Living Free? Roderick, how are you? Lily Michelle, how are you? Yah is my shield. I know that's right. Jasmine, how you doing? Kaya, I want to say that's how you pronounce it. Dorothy, Cecilia, T, Numa Fire. All right, Diamond Love, Slim, Slim 8M, Summer Breeze. Summer Breeze, I remember that song. Let's see who else we have. Thomas, how you doing? 1619. Brood, how are you doing? Azanaya, how are you? Good to have you, all of you. Robert Haynes, Ophelia, Chizuriya, Stacy, 78 Vet. Oh, I can see a sister now driving in a 78 Corvette. All right, Mags for Christ, Claudia, Dale, Afua, Wake Up My People One. I know that's right. Percy, how you doing? Thank Yah Now. Kim Gore, Sharon Batya, and SC, how are you? Markia, In Pursuit. Oh, it's a lot of you joining us tonight. Sister Joy, how are you doing? Good to have you with me tonight. Let's see, I want to make sure you have your wrench. What happened to your? Okay, you got it. There you go, Sister Joy. All right, so we're going to get started. I didn't name all of you, but just know that I am delighted to have you join me tonight. I hope you all can hear me okay. So we're continuing our discussion from the series, Understanding the Days of Judgment. And I encourage you to go back and listen to the series if you have not done so. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the time of artificial intelligence. We're in a revolution, family. We are in a revolution. So, we're going to get started with this session tonight again, understanding the days of judgment. How many of you remember the song by James Brown? I think we see a transition happening, and this right here is leading up to that. He said it's a man's world. Well, you see what I have there, right? And I don't think the world is ready for this. It's being forced on the masses because it represents a physical and spiritual shift. Now, some of you may be a bit too young to remember this song. If you remember that song from James Brown, put a 1 in the chat. You're going to show your age for sure. How many of you remember that song? B. Smith, okay. That means you're at least 40-ish, I want to say. Cassie remembers. Janet, you remember? Okay, yeah. Back then we were saying it's a man's world, but yeah, I think things are a-changing. They are a-changing. So we're going to talk about some things tonight, and I am going to be on my best behavior as I say some things. So you all going to have to follow along with me and kind of get an understanding of what I'm trying to say, because you all know that Big Brother is always listening. So let's get started. I think we're in this time of the artificial intelligence revolution. And many of us, we never thought that we would even be alive to see some of these things happening. We see scripture unfolding right before our eyes. And it's really important for us to pay attention to these unfolding events. We need to be able to discern the difference regarding these prophetic events, because a lot of Christians believe that there's only one time of tribulation and then there's a final judgment that will bring about the end of the world. However, there are other prophecies yet to be fulfilled before that occurs. And one in particular is the judgment of these nations that took us into captivity and our return to our promised land. So I'm going to get started with a few videos. Now, this first one is an episode on 60 Minutes, and it's called Artificial Intelligence Revolution. So I want you to take a look at this video, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
I am rarely speechless. I don't know what to make of this.
With Rare Access, we will show you what Google is developing and the questions they're asking themselves.
On my way, I will bring an apple to you.
As they begin to unveil computing power that will change every part of our world forever.
We may look on our time as the moment civilization was transformed, as it was by fire, agriculture, and electricity. In 2023, we learned that a machine taught itself how to speak to humans like a peer, which is to say, with creativity, truth, error, and lies. The technology, known as a chatbot, is only one of the recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, machines that can teach themselves superhuman skills. We explored what's coming next at Google, a leader in this new world. CEO Sundar Pichai told us AI will be as good or as evil as human nature allows. The revolution, he says, is coming faster than you know. Do you think society is prepared for what's coming?
There are two ways I think about it. On one hand, I feel no, because the pace at which we can think and adapt as societal institutions compared to the pace at which the technology is evolving, there seems to be a mismatch. On the other hand, compared to any other technology, I've seen more people worried about it earlier in its life cycle. So I feel optimistic. The number of people, who have started worrying about the implications, and hence the conversations are starting in a serious way as well.
He's right. Civilization is being transformed. The computer taught itself how to speak to humans. He said the machines are teaching themselves superhuman skills. Now, we have to pause and think on that. And that CEO, he knows that we are not prepared for what's coming, but there's no turning back for them. They can't stop now. They have to move forward. Now, this second video is a CNN report about, and many of you may have already heard about this, a former Google scientist named Jeffrey Hinton. And he wanted to resign from his position so that he could speak clearly and warn the world that AI could erase people. Watch this.
Joining us now to discuss Jeffrey Hinton. Jeffrey, thanks so much for joining us. So you left your job with Google in part because you say you want to focus solely on your concerns about AI. You've spoken out saying that AI could manipulate or possibly figure out a way to kill humans. How could it kill humans?
Well, eventually, if it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us. And there are very few examples of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing. And it knows how to program, so it'll figure out ways of getting around restrictions we put on it. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants.
So what do we do? Do we just need to pull the plug on it right now? Do we need to put in far more restrictions and backstops on this? How do we solve this problem?
It's not clear to me that we can solve this problem. I believe we should put a big effort into thinking about ways to solve the problem. I don't have a solution at present. I just want people to be aware that this is a really serious problem and we need to be thinking about it very hard. I don't think we can stop the progress. I didn't sign the petition saying we should stop working on AI because if people in America stopped, people in China wouldn't. It's very hard to verify whether people are doing it.
There have been some whistleblowers who have been warning about the dangers of AI over the past few years. One of them, Timnit Gebru, was forced out of Google for voicing his concerns. Looking back on it, do you wish that you had stood behind these whistleblowers more?
Timnit's actually a woman.
Oh, sorry.
So they were rather different concerns from mine. I think it's easier to voice concerns if you leave the company first. And their concerns aren't as existentially serious as the idea of these things getting more intelligent than us and taking over.
Steve Wozniak, one of the co-founders of Apple, is also speaking out about the dangers he fears will come from AI. Take a listen.
Now, AI is another more powerful tool, and it's going to be used by those people, for basically really evil purposes. And I hate to see technology being used that way. It shouldn't be, and probably some types of regulation are needed.
It sounds like you agree.
I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. What should that regulation look like?
I'm not an expert on how to do regulation. I'm just a scientist who suddenly realized that these things are getting smarter than us. And I want to sort of blow the whistle and say we should worry seriously about how we stop these things getting control over us. And it's going to be very hard. And I don't have the solutions. I wish I did.
Y'all. He said you can't control something smarter than you. Now let's think about that. We just saw in the first video that robots are teaching themselves superhuman skills. Isn't this an indication that they are now autonomous? They're now able to change circumstances and optimize themselves. Let's see what you all are saying about this. This is interesting. And thank you, 78 Vet and Brother Calvin, for the super stickers. Lorraine, yeah, I heard about 4 robots in Japan. Really? They raised 29 people in a lab when they were able to dismantle 3, but the one was able to regenerate itself. No, I had not heard about that. Oh my goodness. Cut from a different cloth. Yes, every time I watch these things, I think about that Will Smith movie, I, Robot. You all, Kaj says they already showed this in the film Eagle Eye. I haven't seen that one. The AI was blackmailing people into doing wicked things and was, no, I did not see that one. I did not see that one. Thank you, Markia, for the super chat. T says, I just missed you. Wow, hadn't heard of that. Okay, you hadn't heard of that one either. In Pursuit, Star Wars, yeah. So they've been kind of showing us, what's coming. And you also heard him say, well, really, there's no way for us to stop now, because if the United States stop, with what they're doing, then you have other nations like China who will move forward so that they can get the edge up. You all, the fact is, they already know that they have lost control. They know that. But yet, they're going to keep going. And that's what's scary. So, this article from Productivity Hub, AI is learning how to create itself. So as we can see, they opened the Pandora's box and they're not going to be able to control it. But as I said, they will press on anyway. So I'm going to read a snippet from this article. Again, AI is learning how to create itself. So it says we need to take the shackles off. This is what this guy is saying. And get out of our own way. If Clune is right, using AI to make AI could be an important step on the road that leads to artificial general intelligence. Now, this is a new phrase. Machines that can outthink humans. So it says in the nearer term, the technique might also help us discover different kinds of intelligence, non-human smarts that can find solutions in unexpected ways and perhaps complement our, that's laughable, complement our own intelligence rather than replace it. So at this point, wouldn't it be up to the computer to decide? Wouldn't AI make that decision? So it says the rapid development of AI that can train itself also raises questions about how well we can control its growth. They can't. The idea of AI that builds better AI is a crucial part of the myth making behind the singularity, the imagined point in the future when AIs start to improve at an exponential rate and move beyond our control. Eventually, certain doomsayers warn AI might decide it doesn't need humans at all. Oh boy. It says that's not what any of these researchers have in mind. Their work is very much focused on making today's AI better. Machines that run amok remain a far off anti-fantasy. Even so, DeepMind's Jane Wang has reservations. A big part of the attraction of using AI to make AI is that it can come up with designs and techniques that people hadn't thought of. Yet Wang notes that not all surprises are good surprises. Open-endedness is by definition something that's unexpected. If the whole idea is to get AI to do something you didn't anticipate, it says it becomes harder to control. That's both exciting and scary. Both, you know what? Cut from a different cloth. It sounds like demons to me. You just have to wonder about these people. Calvin says the Terminator series. Yes. Yes. It sounds like it to me. Thank you, Pastor Rick Fletcher, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Marie Lee, evil spirits that's roaming this earth is now inhabiting inanimate objects. You all, I'm just trying to say, why do it though? Why continue to do it and you know that you can't control it? You already have a problem. That's already a problem. Why continue? Thank you, 48 Coco Sheba. I appreciate that. Let's see. LaShawn, these are being created for a strong distraction. Yeah. The main focus is human beings. Changing Yahuwah's DNA. They need bodies that will last and not break down or get, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because it doesn't make any sense. If you already see the pitfalls, you're just going to keep walking and fall into the ditch. So let's go back because we need to know exactly what's going on with this. And I want to go back to the beginning. And we always have to go back to Genesis to kind of get an idea of what's happening. So let's look at Genesis 1:27. So Yah created man in his own image. In the image of Yah, he created him, male and female, he created them. This is about the enemy trying to recreate the world into his own image. He's trying to recreate by mimicking or imitating the work that the Most High has already done. Let's take a look at this from Revelation 13:9-14. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads in the captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword, and live. Make an image to the beast. Satan wants worship more than anything else. So you have to understand that the last day signs will also include some form of religion. He wants the world to honor him instead of honoring the Most High. So he's going to present his image for man to worship. That's where this is headed. Here you go, right here. Just look at this. It represents anti-truth. And foolish men will buy into this because they want to transcend their human existence, thinking they will have ultimate control, not knowing that Satan is a master salesman. He is great at selling a pipe dream. Think about how many angels followed him in the rebellion. Just think about that. And now he has made the pitch to man to help him achieve his heart's desire. So, of course, we know all of this started in the garden, but Satan is going to offer what you desire most, which is why Jeremiah 17:9 tells us that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? But there's an answer for that. David says, "Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against you." So we have to allow the Holy Spirit to burn out the dross and fill our heart with truth. But we have seen this before, because there's nothing new under the sun. So let's take a look at this now from Daniel 3:1-6. So take a look at this. If you remember the story about Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather together the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, in symphony, with all kinds of music, you shall fall down and worship the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace." So, this is not new. This is Satan's game plan. The enemy's creating an image of God, little g, so that he can receive worship on earth. Again, he copies the work of the Father. And what we see happening is the world being transformed to be more accepting of that image of being half human and something else. Just like what they were doing in the days of Noah. Something else. Trans. You really don't know what it is. So I want to read this article. It's entitled "Transhumanism: The Transformation of the Human Race." And then it asks the question, should it matter to you? Should it matter? So it says, transhumanism is a set of views and beliefs related to the transhumanist movement. It aims to use science and technology to improve the human condition. Transhumanists believe that by making healthy living possible for everyone, and a lot of people are going to fall for this, because they're also going to show, okay, look at the good things that we're doing with this. We can cure cancer. We can cure this. We can make it possible for you to live your best life. So the tagline is now, they're making healthy living possible for everyone. It says they can create a world without suffering. Now listen, they're trying to create a world without suffering from diseases such as death. They're going to cure death. Did you get that? Transhumanists see death as another disease that will be cured in the future. Transhumanism aims to transform human beings and society by developing and making available sophisticated technologies to enhance human intellectual, physical, and psychological capacities. They want people of all ages to be able to live longer with better physical health, but also with more extraordinary mental abilities such as intelligence and creativity. Should this matter to you, family? Let's keep reading. Transhumanism is all about using science to transcend biological limitations. Code for we need to transcend whatever barriers the Most High has set in place, whatever boundaries He's put in place that says, stop, don't do this. They're trying to transcend. So people who believe in transhumanism may also be interested in other related movements such as human enhancement. Before transhumanism came into being, the only way to develop new technology was through research and development in a laboratory. It's no longer the only way. Technology is changing our lives regardless of our knowledge about it. Listen, as transhumans, we must take advantage of this opportunity to explore all possibilities to find ways to transform ourselves. So they're already taking on this title and labeling themselves as transhuman. It goes on, transhumanism views death as part of life instead of something unalterable. Because transhumans don't see their lives over once they die, transhumans look forward to improving themselves through more technology. Are you thinking about the passage in Revelation? This theory states that transhumans keep evolving and changing their bodies through technology. So transhumans might get eternal life. They might get eternal life. I hope you're getting this. Transhumans may get infinite abilities and possibilities, which is the transhumanist dream world. Transhumanism envisions an age where people will no longer die at a certain age as they do now, but instead live as long as they want or desire. So one day, people could live forever if they wanted to, or would not have to worry about death ever again. I don't know if you all saw that movie Out of Time. I believe that's what it was called, where they had to put money on their books to earn more time. So you had these people, the aged, they were old, but they still looked like they were 15 or 20, etc. Interesting, but yeah, it seems to me like they're trying to do the same thing here. So it says, one risk is that transhumans might gain more power over other people. So of course, if you think about it, just using the logic, if people see that they can get enhancements so that other people won't have more power over them, how many people are going to sign up for it to be enhanced? So it says, and humans could become a slave race if we aren't careful. Another potential danger is that transhumans become more superhuman. And that's where they're going with this. They may establish a transhuman super society where transhumans with superpowers gain control and power. Transhumanists need to think about these consequences and future possibilities for our lives. They will affect how the world evolves into the future. Transhumanism is the idea that humans can evolve into beings that are more than human It promotes the use of science and technology to change the human condition. Now, we're not going to say that sin has also affected the human condition. Pneumophilia says cyborg. Yes, can we say the cyborg? So it says, with all these new advancements in technology, humans will be less dependent on each other since they can rely on machines for everything they need. I hope you caught that. Humans will rely on machines for everything they need, but we will be more dependent on technology. This could lead to a lack of emotional intelligence, which now sets us apart from other species. So let's see what you all are saying. Byron says, Human 2.0, I pass. Rainy Powell said, they call themselves cyborg in Sweden or in Switzerland. Oh, really? Did not know that. Okay. Michael Lane, this sounds like an old episode of The Twilight Zone. I know that's right. It does sound like The Twilight Zone. Brother Harold, they do not want to rely on the Most High. No, none whatsoever. No, not at all. So let's see. RY, York David, many Gen X boys played $6 Million Man, Crash and all. Interesting there. RY said, that's scary. We need emotional connection. No kidding. No kidding. And this is where we're headed. This is where we're headed. Deborah, no one to redeem. Change us from double helix human to triple helix non-human. Kara, the fallen mating with machines. Oh my, right? Let's see. Let's see what we have. Stephanie says, humans should be relying on the Most High for everything because they're really going to need him. No kidding. No kidding. Cornelius, Marvel Studios. Well, actually, you're going to lead into my next point because they have been telling us this, you all. They have been telling us this all along in the movies. I pulled this up from the internet, and it had some summaries of some of the Transformers movies. So listen to this one, and I don't watch Transformers movies, but I thought of the Transformers movies as I was doing this, so I pulled this up to, get some more information about it. So this was Transformers 4. Look what they titled it, Age of Extinction. With humanity facing extinction from a terrifying new threat, it's up to Optimus Prime and the Autobots to save the world. But now that the government has turned against them, they'll need a team of new allies, including inventor Cade Yeager, and the fearsome Dinobots. And that is how they're going to present this. It's going to seem like, oh, the world is just falling apart. We have to do something. So we need help from these beings, these otherworldly beings to help us. And so we need superheroes. We need the Superman. We need Wonder Woman. We need, what's the green one called? I'm trying to remember. The Incredible Hulk. We need those folks. We need Thor to come to the rescue. Look at the next one. This is from Transformers 3, called Dark of the Moon. A mysterious event from Earth's past threatens to ignite a war so big that the Transformers alone will not be able to save the planet. Sam Witwicky and the Autobots must fight against the darkness to defend our world from the Decepticons. all-consuming evil. You all. Yeah, this is sounding like the Twilight Zone for real now. This is really sounding like the Twilight Zone. So I don't know how people are not seeing this. Diane says, sometimes I'm speechless and can't believe I'm witnessing this. I know, because it's almost like anybody with a brain should be able to see through this. But no, it's science. Trust the science. All praise to Yah, all either not of this world or gene splice human. B. Smith, they need to come back to reality because their fake god Thor ain't going to come to their rescue. Well, I think they're counting on Thor and the X-Men and all these other recreated beings, whatever they're trying to recreate in their lab. Dorothy, I do not need or want any of this mess. I only need my Father, Yah. No kidding. But you all, it's here. It is here. It's not like, they're thinking about doing this. They're doing it. They are doing it. So we have to stay prayed up. That's all I can say. We have to stay prayed up. And we have to be aware of these prophecies. That's one way, to stay in Yah's word, to understand that he has already told us what's coming. He wants us to know what's coming. He said he wouldn't do anything in the earth without revealing it to his prophets. So he's not trying to withhold it from us. Now, you remember when Messiah walked the earth and he was explaining to the disciples the meaning of a parable. And he said to them, it's not for them to know. This is for you to know. So the Most High wants us to know what's coming. He wants us to know. But we have to get in this book. We have to study. We have to fast. We have to pray so that we're not caught up in all of this. And Curtis, yes, a part of this is that they're building an army to fight against Messiah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And the light within says they've been doing it. We're just now seeing the truth. And that's it. Yeah, our eyes are being open now to what they're doing. Afua says, I think it's too late. They've already made a covenant. Yeah. The oil of joy, it's really sad that man has tried to be the Most High for decades, centuries, and always fails. Your arms are too short to box with the Most High Yah. But you know what? Satan has sold them a bill of goods. They actually, because if you think about it, as they begin to advance, and move forward with the technology, they see how the science is working. They're putting hopes in it that, yeah, we can do this. We can live forever. So why wouldn't they think that, later on, what he promised them, he won't fulfill? They see the things coming to pass that they've been promised, not realizing that they're being trapped like a fish. They're biting. But anyway, let's keep going with this. So I want to look at this again. I want to look at this image again for a minute. Because This marketing blitz that the enemy is selling them is they're allowing themselves to believe that they can be more than what the Creator created them to be. And it's starting to have an impact, whether or not we realize that. Look who's around this image. Who does he have there? Look at who's looking up to this image. This is a message here in and of itself. And you see that star behind the head, right? But look at who's looking up to this image. Yurick says, why the kids? That's it right there. Good evening to you as well, Golden Leopard. Why the kids? Why the kids, family? If you can change the mind of a young child to accept something at an early age, it will be very difficult to change it later on. Scripture says, train up the child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. So for those of you with young children, you need to be vigilant about what they're being taught. And sometimes it's not what they're being taught, it's how they're being influenced. Some of the things being used to corrupt young minds are done in a way that you will never know it. You will never know that it's being done. You won't know or realize that there's a problem until the fruit appears. The school system, the public school system, can be a great place to indoctrinate young minds. And unless you're a room mom in the classroom with your child, you have no idea what they're actually receiving, because oftentimes they don't know how to articulate it to you. So this is an issue that you need to be fasting and praying about. This is scary right here. Let's look at some of your comments. Daughter of Zion, why would you want to live forever in this place? Yeah, good question. Michael, the children are the main targets. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Maisha, thank you so much for this super chat. I think I missed a few people. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Focused on the truth. The subtle agenda is that they will merge iron and clay using the little black boy. Okay, now I didn't even look at it that way. Okay, B. Smith, the heathens always dangle. Well, it's something to think about. Something to think about. Let's see, who did I have here? RPJ, the principalities of wickedness is real, way more than many understand. Indigenous, yeah, that and the drag queens. Big time. Big time. Talisha, not just any kids. Yeah. So family, we have to be vigilant. He's busy, and he knows that you have to start with the young children. And I'm going to show you how much impact this is already having. Look at this recent report from the New York Times. Report reveals sharp rise in transgender young people in the U.S. Sharp rise. New estimates based on CDC health surveys point to a stark generational shift in the growth of the transgender population of the United States. The number of young people who identify as transgender has nearly doubled in recent years, according to a new report that captures a stark generational shift and emerging societal embrace of a diversity of gender identities. And I'm going to tell you what it is for just listening to my friends who are still teaching. It's made to be glamorous, cool, to say you're something. I mean, they have come up with a different name every year, it seems. So for them to say, well, I'm a XYZ this, it sounds cool. They're making it hip. So it says the analysis relying on government health surveys conducted from 2017 to 2020 estimated that 1.4% of 13 to 17-year-olds and 1.3% of 18 to 24-year-olds were transgender, compared with about 0.5% of adults. LaShawn, you're absolutely right. A lot of those games are just as dangerous. Those video games, you have to know what's going on with your kids. And yeah, it's almost like you got to be a hawk. Davida, the mixing or intermingling our blood seeds cloaking in melanated skin as a disguise. Yes, it's an abomination, but that's exactly what the enemy's aiming for. Everything that the Most High is against. Michelle says TikTok too. Yeah, very much so. Steve, population control agenda. You all, yes, Patricia, it's a fad. It's fad. They're making it cool. Karin says, but they have a huge problem when we identify with our Israelite roots, who we are as a people, and who the Most High is in His Word. Yeah, you don't see an uproar about that. You don't see that. You know what? Golden Leopard, yes, I saw that report. The state of Washington, they wrote a bill. They can take a child away from their parents if they refuse. Look, they are going so far as to say that the child can decide. If they tell you that that's who they are, as a parent, you really have no choice but to accept it. You really just need to back off and let them be who they want to be, is what they're saying. This is scary, you all. I am so glad I don't have young children. Oh my word. Just thinking about everything that's coming down the pike here. You got to stay prayed up and watch what's going on with your children, your grandchildren. So look at this one, you all. Even the church house is not safe from this. Just look at this. Read the title. They actually brought the exhibit into a Catholic church in New York. But are you surprised? Because a lot of the priests have been grooming children for this lifestyle for quite some time. Are you surprised? They brought the exhibit in the church. So it says one angry parishioner said the church should not be promoting this. No kidding. But guess what the church calls itself? Progressive. And so they say, God is a transgender. Blasphemy. Blasphemy. But it shouldn't be shocking, like I said. It should not be shocking. We should not be surprised by this. Davidus is not surprised at all. It was a church that turned them out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You all. Yeah. Messenger, they are progressing to damnation. Mm-hmm. Yes. Cecilia says, oh, I thought I hit Cecilia. May they be struck down for that. Hail, fire, and brimstone. Yes. All praise to Yah. Yep, this world is done. The oil of joy, I'm not shocked. They are always doing the most. 78 vet. Catholic Church has been doing wickedness for centuries. Don't we know that? Don't we know that? Princess living free. My husband and I are taking our 3 children, all black boys under the age of 8, to Ethiopia, where my husband is from, to raise them there. Yes, just pray, pray, pray. 78 vet. Catholic Church has been doing wickedness for centuries. No kidding. No kidding. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. Harold says disgusting. Lorraine Ya, the late Pastor Stephen Darby, spoke on this topic, condemning them being after your children. It's called G Manifesto. Yeah, Pastor Darby talked about a lot of this stuff. A lot of it. Pneuma Fire, this is what corruption means. Rainy Powell, did you see that new Italian picture of supposedly brown God? No, I didn't see that one. Interesting. I didn't see that one. Wake Up My People won because we signed our children over. Yeah, we have to be vigilant, family. We have to know what is going on in the classroom. You have to know. You can't just trust that everything is on the up and up. You need to be, like I said, unless you're a room mom, it's kind of hard to know what they're receiving. So let's continue with this. Look at this. If it wasn't bad enough, this is from News Channel 12. Trans minors protected from parents under Washington law. This is the one we were talking about a few minutes ago. Olympia, Washington. So they have signed a law to protect minors seeking gender-affirming care from the intervention of estranged parents. The new law that Inslee signed Tuesday is part of a wave of legislation in Democratic-led states intended to give refuge, amid a conservative movement in which lawmakers in other states have attacked trans rights and limited or banned gender-affirming care for minors. Licensed shelters and host homes. Now you think about what's going to happen when those kids get in there. Licensed shelters and host homes in Washington had generally been required to notify parents within 72 hours when a minor comes into their care. Under the new law, facilities can instead contact the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families, which could then attempt to reunify the family if feasible. If feasible. Saw says the government have more rights to your children than you. Ain't that the truth? Just think about what that report just said. You really will have no say. Let's keep going. So that leads me to this point. This point right here. Most of you have been hearing about how some female athletes are beginning to cry foul as a result of the unfair practice to allow men to compete against them. I'm calling them men. So this article is asking the question, do trans athletes have an unfair advantage? Family, the fact that this question even has to be asked is mind-boggling. You would think that any rational person would know the answer to this. So you have to ask, is there another agenda being pushed when it comes to this? Just think about that for a second as I read some more of this. It says, what does the science tell us about trans athletes in elite sports? What does the science tell us? And of course, you know now, if science says it, it must be true. It says few studies have been done on trans people's athletic performance. Now that caught me by surprise. Few studies? With all of the uproar, are you telling me that they didn't bother to study this before allowing it? My next question is, why isn't there a backlash from women's organizations and feminist groups? There isn't a backlash because for decades, they have been pushing an agenda that women can do anything a man can do. So is the message backfiring, or is there something else underfoot? But here's the dilemma for the feminist movement. You said women can do everything a man can do. So they can't bellyache about this. It says, let's go on. To date, there are no published studies on trans athletes participating at the elite level, says experts. But some papers have been published in the lead up to the Olympic Games. One study published in 2020 looked at U.S. military personnel who transitioned while in service and found that trans women maintain an edge after 1 year of feminizing hormone therapy, which usually includes suppressing testosterone levels and boosting estrogen. So you have to change yourself somehow. The research was carried out by Dr. Timothy Roberts, a pediatrician and associate professor at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and his colleagues. They found that trans women who underwent hormone therapy for 1 year continued to outperform non-transgender women, also known as cisgender women, though the gap largely closed after 2 years. But even then, trans women still ran 12% faster. Let's go on. So, some women are upset. This article says transgender cyclists win because this transgender won. It fueled backlash over rise of male-born athletes racing with women. So some of them are angry about this. So it says, in the world of women's pro cycling, it's becoming increasingly difficult to avoid racing against male-born athletes who identify as women. Just ask Hannah Arnsman. Arnsman, a top professional cyclist, decided to retire at 24. Now, this is shameful, really. She decided to retire at 24 because she placed fourth at the 2022 National Championship Cyclocross in December. Just ahead of her in third place was transgender competitor Austin Kellops, and right behind her in fifth was Jenna Lingwood, another transgender cyclist. So she says it's been very disheartening to finish this way. If this does not change, if the rules are not changed to make women's sports for women, there's not going to be women's sports for the next generation. The records are all going to go to male riders. The 27-year-old Kellops, who took up racing in 2019, captured the prestigious Tour of the Gila Women's Road Race last weekend in New Mexico, winning thousands in prize money and stoking speculation about possibly qualifying for the Tour de France Femmes and even the 2024 Paris Olympics. Kellops is being compared to former collegiate swimmer Leah Thomas, but there is at least one key difference. Thomas was the only male to female transgender athlete in the pool during her 2020 NCAA championship run. You all. I'm going to comment after this next one because I think it's leading to something. And I think it's leading to this right here. Testosterone boosts women's athletic performance, study shows. Research confirms increase in endurance as IAAF imposes upper limit on trans female athletes. I want to read some of this to you. The latest research confirmed that testosterone significantly increases endurance and lean muscle mass among young women, even when given for a relatively short period. Angelica H., a gynecologist for the Swedish Olympic Committee based at this university and the study's first author, said the results were the first to show a causal effect of testosterone on physical performance in women. This has not been demonstrated previously because most studies have been performed in men. Furthermore, the study shows the magnitude of performance enhancement by testosterone. Testosterone levels increase more than 4 times, but were still much below the male range. The improvement in endurance performance by the increased testosterone levels was more than 8%. This is huge. This is a huge effect in sports. So this professor of biochemistry at the University of Essex, who was not involved in the work, said, the data is really clear. This adds further evidence that if you give testosterone to female athletes, you improve their performance. Some people have suggested that testosterone is not the only sex difference, but it's clearly the best indicator. So here's what's happening. These women, like the young woman who retired at 24, they're getting frustrated and desperate. And desperate people will do desperate things. So could it be that there's an agenda to create so much frustration that women will start looking into alternative means? Is this giving women a reason to ask for genetic modification? What are your thoughts about that? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking about this. What are your thoughts? Let's see what you're thinking about that. Because there's a reason why there isn't an uproar about this. It's a man competing against a woman. But then again, like I said, the feminists are like, well, women can do whatever men can do. So they really can't say anything. Oh, let's see. All praise to Yah. Gene modification, an abomination. Calvin says, yep. Yes. And then Shaya, they shame the women who speak out. Yes, they do. They jump on them like, oh, you're discriminating against us and you're attacking us. And oh, yeah. Yeah. Bitter herbs. Only those who don't know Yah's laws will do these things. Do as they will. Yeah. Shine says, if a robot can ride a bike, then the robot can race in a woman's place to beat the transgender. That's probably coming. That is probably coming. Team Truth. Gender is now fast becoming a social construct. Yes. Boys grew into men and girls to women. Then bring back those days of yea and nay when we can plainly see the way. No kidding. Brother Harold, this is a chess game played by Satan against mankind. The Most High will have the last say. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vakisha said, now that some men identify as women, they're going into spas, walking around naked in front of women and girls. You see what I'm saying? And you all know who made it legal for the restrooms. Can we say Obama? That's another lesson altogether. Anyway, yeah. So let's go on with this information because I'm just thinking there's something else underfoot here. So it says the scientists tested the hormone's impact on aerobic performance measured by how long women could run on a treadmill before reaching the point of exhaustion and leg power, muscle strength, and lean mass. So they tested, some of these women just to see, okay, is there really a difference? And whether or not, they've been treated with testosterone or estrogen or what have you. So Cooper said the latest findings left little doubt that testosterone was generally performance enhancing for female athletes. He added that the question of whether testosterone cutoff should be applied and to whom was not a purely scientific one, however. It's a political, social decision about, listen, who you want to be competing and at what level. So some of these men can just wake up and say, this is what I want to be. So I'm going to enter the women's race. Interesting, you don't see a lot of women trying to enter the men's race. Let's keep going. So I think it's leading to this eventually right here. The family in 2050, artificial wombs, robot carriers, and the rise of single fathers by choice. This is from The Guardian. So it says advances in technology will create ever bigger ethical debates. So-called designer babies are already a reality, with parents able to select embryos to screen out inherited diseases and conditions. But by 2050, prospective parents could pay to select not only for good health, but for traits such as intelligence, attractiveness, athleticism, The babies of rich parents could be genetically superior to those born to lower income families. And where are they headed? Artificial eggs and sperm are on the horizon, which will not just be helpful for infertile heterosexual couples, but will also allow same-sex couples, listen, to both be the biological parents of their children, because that will mean men can produce eggs and sperm, and so can women. Did you get that? So it says family is no longer necessarily about biological relatedness. That is something that has changed a lot. It says we are already seeing uterus transplants, but by 2050, we may be relying on artificial wombs to grow our babies. They are being developed at the moment, initially, to help with very premature babies to replicate, as far as possible, the human uterus. It says, but eventually it's possible that artificial wombs will be used instead of pregnancy. So for these men who want to have babies, there you go. So it becomes what kind of world? What kind of world? This right here. Folks, this is about erasing boundaries. The Burger King ideology, to have it your way. It's the order of the day. And Satan will deliver. But he will always show you the white sandy beaches with the emerald green waters. He will never show you the volcano that's about to erupt right beneath the surface. There is always, always, always a price to pay when we don't do things Yah's way. Just think about what it says in Revelation. It says they will want to die, and death will flee from them. If what Satan is offering is so great, why are they trying to kill themselves? Is my question. Why are you trying to kill yourself if Satan is offering something that's so great? Somebody help me figure that one out. Why are they trying to kill themselves? I mean, it's not making any sense to me. If it's so great, he's giving you the pie in the sky. Why are you trying to kill yourself? Karin says lies are superhuman skills. For sure. Thank you, Diane, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah. Family, Beast Mercer, they hate themselves. LaShawn, best meal you've eaten. All right now. Mr. The original school, it's not abomination, it's an abomination. Okay. Lorraine, y'all. Okay, I guess you all still talking about what I said there. Princess Living Free, Satan's creation gone wrong. No kidding. Calvin says, dumb. Sister Cece, how you doing? They know the truth that we will reign over the earth. Yeah, they know it. They know it. Daughter of Zion 2019, The Matrix, Hunger Games, Galactica, The Book of Eli, all mixed into one. I want to not be a part of it. Satan's going to create a reflection of himself. Everything the Most High hates. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Marie, they woke up. This is like, it's almost like you almost have to turn all reasoning off to live in this type of world. Chosen daughter of Zion, y'all help us. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Lisa Smith, indeed, their ultimate goal is to eliminate Yah's seed from the earth. And we know that. We know that for sure. Messenger, this same abomination was prevalent in ancient Rome. Yes. Patricia, they have lost their minds. Brandy says, you trust the devil, you live to regret it. Ain't that the truth? Prof. 8 of Yah, it's written that Abba Yah would hand us over into the hands of a foolish nation for turning our backs. Yes. And oh my gosh. Just think about it, because you have to ask, who's doing this? Who's doing this? Oh my gosh. Eddie Smith, it's the flesh trying to get back to its natural state, taking the spirit for granted. L. Nathan. Oh, hold on. Shaul tells us that Yah has given them over to a reprobate mind. And we certainly see that, don't we? The light within, the first and last thing I do every day after giving the Most High praise, I pray for the destruction of the demons in this world. Princess living free. How do we come of Babylon? Says first it begins with getting your hearts, your mind right about what the Most High says about what is acceptable and what is not, what is truth and what is a lie, separating yourself from the spiritual entanglements, some of the lies that we grew up with, those things that we're accepting, things that we accepted to be true. And getting in this word for yourself, I'm telling you, just knowing what it says, reading it for yourself, and so many things, now that we understand who we are and things are making sense, it's almost like these words just come alive to you as you're reading scripture. Diamond love, that is why it's important to stay a set apart family. Yes, we have to understand exactly what is going on in this world. These people, somebody said they've lost their minds. Yes, they have lost their minds. They have, because some of this stuff, it's like, who's thinking of this? And we know that it's coming from another realm. A lot of this is coming from another realm. They're not coming up with all of this on their own. They're in cahoots with demonic forces that's trying to corrupt everything that the Most High has created, to change it into something that doesn't resemble him, doesn't look like him. They're trying to make it into the enemy's image, something that they can be comfortable with. The enemy's trying to recreate what the Most High has already created. And some of this, I'm just shaking my head, because as I said earlier, I don't think most of us thought that we would be alive to see some of this. Honestly, we just thought that 50, 100 years from now, maybe for some of this, But again, now that we know who we are, yeah, we can kind of see how these things are unfolding. And again, that's why it's so important for us to understand these end time events and pray for the Most High to give us wisdom, to give us knowledge, to reveal these truths to us, because He wants us to know the truth. He doesn't want to hide these things from us. He wants us to know what's coming. And this is why He tells us. This is why He tells us. So yeah, we have to be prayed up. We have to stay in the Word, studying, meditating, getting it down in your heart. We have to pray for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Thank you, Bitter Herbs, for this super chat. Sister Maisha, thank you. How you doing, sis? Thank you for those I may have missed. I appreciate you. So family, I tell you, this is a lot. Again, my prayer is for those who have young children. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. You can't take anything for granted, because it's hard to pull up that seed once it takes root into the heart of a child. And right now, they've already, my husband and I were talking about this the other day, they have basically usurped the authority of the parent. The child basically is deciding. The child is deciding. Thank you, Dee Perry. So for a parent, particularly for a parent who knows the truth about Scripture, oh my word. Yeah, you have to be prayed up, covering your children, praying Psalms 91 over your home, over your family. You need to be prayed up, because this is a lot to deal with. It's a lot to process. As the CEO said in the first video, we're not ready for this. We are not ready for this society I'm speaking about. Sister Cece says prayer and fasting needed to get them back from under that demonic way of life. For sure. For sure. Byron says, not in my household. You have to take a stand. But you know, family, if we just look at the percentage of single moms raising children, should we be surprised that the boys are wearing dresses? Just something to think about. Should we be surprised? What model do they have in the home? And that's not to say that some of our moms, grandmothers, etc., have not done a phenomenal job, because we know the condition of the Black family. We know that. But just look at the percentage. And we need to ask, should we be surprised? So I know I covered a lot. It's not for your heart to be troubled, though. It's for you to know what you need to be praying about, to know what's coming down the pike, to know what the enemy is trying to do. This is like, I don't know that there's a word for this, beyond wickedness, beyond reprobate, but there is clearly an agenda. And if you'll notice, they are going to highlight those from our community every chance they get. They are going to put their faces out there because our community and our families in Africa and some of the islands, we have been the holdouts. We've been the holdouts on this agenda. They're still trying to push it in Africa. We have been the holdouts. So they are really trying to make it seem like our numbers are just, a lot of our children are going this way now. So they have now lumped this in with CRT. The CRT now is almost like being deranged if you believe that we should tell the truth about our history. It's the gaslighting is just, it's beyond belief at this point. It's beyond belief. Bitter herbs says, dwell in the secret place. Absolutely. Psalm 91, you all. You better know how to get into the secret place and sit and rest in the Most High's presence. You better know how to get into that secret place. Family, these are serious times ahead. But again, it's not for you to fear. He told us to watch and pray. It's for you to know what's going on. We can't sit or be like an ostrich where we just bury our heads in the sand and not know what's going on. We need to know what's going on. We need to know what prayer requests we need to lift up to Abba Yah. We need to know what's happening and lift these things up. Cover your family, cover your friends, cover Israel. Because again, they're trying to make it seem like we're the only ones doing the most. The craziest of the crazies they put out there in front to make it seem like it's all us. And we know that that's not true. We know it's not true. Davida says, I pray Psalms 109 daily. Very good. Yes. Mr. The Original School. Isn't that a favorite right there? He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So to get to you, they would have to come through him. They would have to come through him. Quad Mael, I think that's how you say it. It's such confirmation. I was just speaking with a co-worker about much of this today, right before the live. All praises to Abba. Beauty with brains, how are you, sis? The Most High is not taken by surprise by the wicked. No, he's not. Vita deflecting, yes, for sure. Thank you, Brother Harold. Much appreciated. Yes, RP. J, Most High has no shadow. Most High has no shadow. Okay. Michael Lane, prayed up is being ready 24/7. Praying, fasting, meditating. Yes. And casting out demonic and wicked spirits. Don't forget, you have that authority. You have that authority. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up for tonight. For some of us, it's getting late, not for folks like Calvin. But for some of us, you have to get up for work tomorrow. So once again, thanks so much for joining me for tonight's session. Hopefully you got something from the message, something that you can share with others. Be on the lookout for other families, friends, keep watch like how we used to do back in the day. I know that's not as easy, but yeah, we used to watch out for each other people's children. They're our children. They are our children. They're trying to tear us apart. The family of Israel. All right, so be blessed, everyone. Have a terrific rest of the week. Take care.